This episode of Capes and Lunatic Sidekicks is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Perich, and you are listening to the Capes and Lunatic Sidekicks podcast.
Yes, I know I don't have any Superman music, but welcome back to another episode of Legends of the Arrowverse. I know last time, I think 2 weeks ago, Lilith and I said we're going to keep going on Flash issues, but funny, Lilith wanted to do some Superman and Lois stories since the show is going to be coming, in January, but then her router blew up, but never fear, I have the boys from the Krypton Report here with me to review the Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman pilot back from 1993. So yes, of course, you got Superman Blue, Mr. Tyler Patrick.
Hello, everybody.
And of course, Superman Red. And if you've seen pictures of him at the gym, you better call him Mr. James Cole.
Hey, how's it going?
The new Chuck Norris prototype.
He was so excited that that was his name. He was like, that's me. That's me. I'm James Cole.
Wait, they're talking about me.
Well, yeah. The last time we talked, I was like, you better call him Mr. James Cole, man. All right. So yes, like I said, we're here to we're going to be covering comics the rest of the year, Superman and Lois. But right now, yes, we're going to cover the Lois and Clark pilot episode back from, I remember this, from 1993. Like I said, it had been a while since I saw it, but I think it holds up pretty good. Like, I like the story, so I like it so much. Like, I'll forgive like the CGI of its time.
I think I told Janine as we were watching it, if you would have just done that music, it almost has a timeless feel in some of the way they do things. Because they don't lean too heavily on technology in the episode, as far as the use of computers, phones, or anything that we're not having things feels as. But there's a couple times when he flies home, he's flying, like there's just such an 80s-esque tone, like that. It's like that music. That's what's killing you.
Oh yeah, what was I gonna say? But I love it's the pilot episode, so you don't even get like an opening montage. They just like throw up that S shield and like play the music.
Well,
opening credits.
I was telling Phil this before is the pilot episode for Lois and Clark is longer because it was filmed to be a made-for-TV movie. If the show had not been picked up, they would have just had a new Superman, TV movie. They filmed, if I remember everything correctly, they filmed it with film. They shot a little bit more on like locations for some scenes, and everything. You can kind of tell at times, but it was made to be a higher end production. If it was just a movie. And I think that's part of why you have, just that like title card at the beginning, and you have the different costume. The costume that's here is, altered somewhat once we get into the season. So all those are kind of, I don't remember all the times table of like when this was shot compared to like when it was decided to be a series. But that is a good portion of why it's so different.
But I mean, it affected the comics too. I don't know if it's when they decided to do a series, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys both know. But like in '92, like that's when they were going to marry off Clark and Lois, and they're like, "Oh no, they're not married on the show. You're going to have to put that off." So that's like, I guess when they had
they decided to do the death.
Yeah, they had the writers' summit. I believe the legend is yes, they were in their big writers' summit because the writers actually. There's 4 different Superman books. They actually had like annual meetings to plot out the year and stuff. And I guess, I forget who, one of the writers was like, okay, we can't do the marriage. Well, let's just kill him.
Yeah, it's funny. You can't do the marriage in the books because that's not how they're on the TV show.
Yeah.
But it's okay if he's dead. But he's alive on a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is, though, technically the first live-action Superman post-John Byrne's reboot.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the first live action TV show since the Adventures of Superman, right?
You had Superboy.
Oh, Superboy, yeah.
Which I always try to explain to Solomon, like, look, it's called Superboy. but it's still Clark. It's still Superman. Because he's still trying to get the concept of like there's Superboy John, there's Superboy Connor, but then why is sometimes this Superboy? Like that's not, Yeah. I'm like, well, so every time I'm like, I'm watching
the only Superboy before the '90s was Clark.
Yes, but
we kind of.
But yeah, I mean, just with like they couldn't marry him because of the TV show. Like back then, they were all so worried about that because that's why like they like rushed and got Peter Parker married in the Spider-Man comics in '87 because Stan Lee was going to do it in the newspaper strip. So I guess they wanted that whole thing. So like they lined up the comic book with the newspaper strip. I was like, man, that's even weird.
Well, I mean, it's just the same way that DC adapted back when the Flash TV series was going on. They changed the Flash in the comics. All of a sudden, his costume looked more like the TV series. Then the TV series changed, and then they tried to do that Arrow, where basically they took the New 52 Arrow book and then they made it into Arrow, John Diggle, Felicity, and tried to make it more like the show. And then the Aquaman, when they did that DCU kind of soft inside the New 52, not reboot, but like realignment, they try to make him more like Momoa style, and it just seems like that never works.
No.
Anytime they change the comics to reflect the shows, I don't think it ever really worked. I mean, they tried that with Supergirl and Rebirth.
Yeah, I mean, one time they didn't change was '90s Flash because I remember I started watching that when that came on. So that's when I first picked up the comics. Because it was Barry in the show. I picked up the comics. I think it was like issue 50. Yeah. It was issue 51 of Wally's book. I'm like, who the hell's Wally West?
Exactly. They did like the complete opposite. They were just like, look, we're just going to do our own thing with the show. You do what you want in the books.
Seriously, pretty much. Because it was like, on the TV show, Barry was with Tina, but like in the comics, like Tina was like a Wally character. So it was like, okay.
Well, I think a lot of times Flash on live action and is always kind of, even Green Lantern in the movie, they can't pick one Green Lantern and do them right. They're like, but we like this person's story. Or this person's, we'll just make them an amalgam.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Flash, Green Lantern, and Robin.
I was going to say, yeah.
Suffer from like the amalgamisms of the different versions when it transfers medium.
I like this. I like this suit. I like this origin.
And that's how Tim
Drake
was in the animated series.
That's why Tim Drake pretty much like erased.
Thank goodness he gets
everything.
Well, at least Tim Drake was in Arkham Knight, and he's going to be the Robin in Gotham Knights coming up.
Well, yeah, because I think they're bringing.
Tried to put him.
Yeah, well, they're bringing Tim Drake back as Robin in the comics too. Because I don't know what they're doing with Damian, but he already quit.
Yeah, it's so weird. Brian and I got in a whole discussion about like how it works now, like because you know how like in the New 52, Tim was never actually Robin. He just started as Red Robin as part of that compression thing.
Yeah, I think.
And then we had Rebirth, and then how that realigns that because when he becomes Robin from being Drake, he started as Red Robin, became Drake, but now he's coming back to Robin. But we diverge a lot.
Oh yeah.
Back to Dean Cain.
Dean Cain, yes, who Tyler and I met. Yes.
Yes, we did. That's what I say. It was that Phil and I met. But I love this pilot. I forgot how much charm there is to this thing. Like, I love the first season of Lois and Clark. The latter two seasons are they're kind of hit and miss, but the first season especially, and then the second season is good. But
first season's definitely the best.
There's so much I like about his Clark in a lot of ways, because he does kind of this awkwardness, but he's the most confident style Clark Kent we've had. I've
always liked how he traveled the world. He was, all the different the pava leaves for Perry and his dress and stuff. He
wrote for foreign papers.
Some of his stories he wrote for foreign papers and stuff. So he was still a journalist. He didn't just come to Metropolis to become one. He's always been a journalist, and he's traveled the world. Like when he goes to get Chinese food flies to China to get Chinese food, and then he flies it back.
But I mean, and they played him like he didn't have to be like a complete stumbling, dork. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Christopher Reeve is my Superman, but it's like, they didn't play up the, oh, I'm so clumsy, he was like a regular guy, who traveled the world.
What's weird is like
we actually talked about that like just recently about how much Chris Reeves was that bumbling like character. He was always getting into accidents and bumping into people and stuff. Is like you stand out too much, like being way too overly clumsy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're looking at the spectrum, you have Chris Reeves Clark here, and then you have like Dean Cain here. This is like the different sides, and then like on this side of the spectrum, you have like George Reeves, and then I think you'll probably get Tyler fall in here, and then over here you have Ralph, who's like right there because he's kind of playing. I look at both of his performances now and try to kind of gauge where he would be. So I feel like he's more right here, and then Tom's kind of in the middle because like his was a different kind of thing. So, and then Henry's Clark it's more over here, like with the cane, because I feel like his Clark was always so much quiet, so like it was a little like less. But Dean Cain just had this kind of charisma and charm because the show was more Lois and Clark than it was.
Oh yeah,
Superman.
I remember that's how they promoted it when it first came out. They're like, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of Clark and Lois, and every so often he's gonna throw the suit on and be Superman.
And I mean, it worked. It worked quite well, and he's an endearing Superman and an endearing Clark, and. I mean, like you said, like Chris was yours, and like in a lot of ways, Chris was ours in the sense that he was already the established one that we knew.
Yeah.
But this was kind of the Superman we grew up with because it was the new thing when we were kids.
Yeah.
So, like Dean was kind of the one that I kind of grew up with, and then, of course, Tom just came at like the best point in my life. So. That kind of changed that a little bit. So,
but yeah, I mean, but I mean, yeah, you're talking about Henry. I think, now that we're talking Clarks, I think that might be part of my problem. Why I don't like Henry as much as a lot of the other ones is like they really didn't give you a lot of Clark Kent in Henry's.
Yeah, I mean they did his Clark an injustice.
I mean, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, he'd even
especially with BVS, they cut out all of his Clark.
Yeah, and
almost all of it.
And even Man of Steel, he really doesn't slap those glasses on until the end of the movie.
Yep. So the whole movie.
Well, even in
Clark.
Well, Man of Steel, Man of Steel, whether he's Clark or he has the suit on, he's just him.
Yeah, I mean, Man of Steel.
There is no difference. He's just him.
Yeah, it's just like the all Man of Steel. He may be calling himself Clark, but it's basically Kal-El wandering the earth.
Yeah. That's how Jania described it, because it was more Kal-El's story. But that's why I'm excited actually to see what Tyler does in the show, because James and I are talking about how I think we'll get more of the Clark that people aren't familiar with, because Superman's always the same person.
Yeah.
But like he'll lean a little bit more one-sided to be Clark and a little bit more one-sided to be Superman, but he doesn't really change the way Batman does. And I think we're going to see with Tyler's, because it's going to be more him in Smallville as Clark with his family, we're going to see more of just him as himself, not being that, say, Clark that we kind of saw in his guest roles of, the reporter, and then not always being like the Superman that we saw interact, like when he interacted with like the DEO agents and things, where he was the Superman.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get more Clark, and two, it's like, I think this is probably the first live action where it's like episode 1 that Lois and Clark are already married.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. That's why I feel like this show is going to be like a spiritual like blending of Lois and Clark and Smallville. Because you're going to have kind of that Lois and Clarkism from the parents, and then the Smallville from the kids, their teenage sons. So,
and again, not to throw us way off track again, but it's like, how do you guys feel? I mean, we're getting Clark or Superman and Lois, but they, guess they said Supergirl season 6 will be the last season.
Yeah, like James and I haven't recorded and talked about this yet, but we can crack it open. A lot of people I've read that it just shows that they're just really like Supergirl is supposed to be her own thing, but yet they use pretty much so much of Superman as her as a stand-in. But I don't feel like they did as much as they could have if that was their goal. And the fact that now we have Superman and Lois and Supergirl is being canceled, but I've read some of the response from the main actors and things, and it seems positive. I kind of wonder if maybe it deals with Melissa being a new mom and just wanting a change in life,
I think it could. I think it's partially that, and maybe I don't know if they feel it's like redundant to have the two shows. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I get that, but then at the same time, where they're taking the Superman show is new ground. I mean, it's new ground to cover that Superman, and this hasn't explored that. I mean, that one thing I've loved about the Black Lightning show was the fact that he was an older superhero, a father with a wife and a family, compared to everyone else who's young. Coming up, he is a seasoned hero. And this is kind of like in Superman, kind of that, well, now I'm a father, and like, what are we going to see? Are we going to see him having issues with missing out on time with his kids because of crisis? Like, he remembers pre-crisis and now post, but he still has gaps of the time he was supposed to have with his kids. But I don't.
That's something they could possibly. That's something they could possibly address. To like, I had brought up before that with Crisis, like he wasn't a paragon, so he doesn't remember pre-crisis. His life exists where he had these sons for the last 16 years.
Yeah, but does John Jones give him back those original memories too?
Well, that's the thing too. Like, the only way he would remember is if John gave him that memory download of pre-crisis. But that wouldn't erase the memories that he had of the timeline he existed in. So I think it was a little like the shot where he almost looked confused when Lois said it's about the boys. It was almost like they didn't think about that, that he wasn't one of the paragons, that he wouldn't remember pre-crisis, that his timeline would be the single Earth, the Earth Prime timeline, and he would already have had those boys for 16 years. So, I mean, that would be an interesting concept to explore, like gaps in memory and things like that. Unless like maybe pre-crisis and post-crisis memories are conflicting because of the memory download or something. But I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe we're digging in too deeply and they didn't even consider that.
I mean, and I hope, I know they're going to have their own Lex Luthor over there, but I mean, I would like them to offer John Cryer something over there too.
Well, I mean, they did. Cryer mentioned he was.
Oh, did he?
I saw it out of fandom. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And there was a lot of things in fandom that I may have missed or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that Cryer is supposed to appear on there, but I don't think he's going to be a regular guest star
or a main villain of the season or something. I mean, Supergirl season 6. It's had a good run. The show has. Like Tyler said, maybe it's partially because she's a mother. The time that she would need to be dedicated to doing Supergirl is a lot of time taken away from a child. I mean, not even a father wants to do that, but sometimes it's easier for the fathers like Stephen Amell to do his job like he was doing during Arrow and be in Vancouver and go back and see the wife and kids on off times, but still it'd just be a lot harder for a woman, especially if she suffered any postpartum depression. I mean that would just seriously mess with her during production of the show as well. So, I mean, I hope since they already know it's going to be the last season that we'll get a decent wrap up of the series. And I hope that she would be open to showing up on Superman and Lois at some point or another as a guest star.
I mean,
she kind of.
Will they do something with her where A, she dies, or B, she goes off to join the Legion at the end to be
say that was
with Mon-El, because we're in a post-crisis now.
Well, that was in the 2000s, right? In the 2000s era when she went to the future.
Yep, because we watched the Justice League episode
joined Legion
the other day. We watched the Justice
it was
League
in Justice League
animation.
Unlimited, and they did it on Smallville, and I think it was from the 2000 era of Supergirl stories.
I think it's the best way to kind of get rid of the character and without killing them off and leaving us kind of where is she?
That was gonna be my next.
Well,
question.
then it could easily give us some Legion time travel and bring her back for a special guest appearance.
I was gonna say if you leave her alive, you can always bring her back for guest shots on Superman and Lois. Or I was gonna say, you know what I would like to see if they do.
It's not like Amel who can't come back. He's dead.
I mean, you have the Spectre show up.
He's supposed to be dead from the time until Felicity went to him.
But it'd be cool. I was gonna say if Supergirl does die, I would like to see have Amel for 2 seconds as the Spectre, kind of walk her into heaven or whatever.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So.
But it would kind of suck if every time they end one of these series on the CW that they're killing off their characters.
That's why I say just have her go off to the future.
Exactly,
so it's kind of she can be there, but she doesn't have to always be there.
Exactly.
If they you said, if they want to bring her back, I mean, it's one more thing that's kind of funny. They were going to build up this whole big Batwoman Supergirl thing, and now they've destroyed that relationship by switching up the character of Batwoman, and now they're just going to end Supergirl after this last season, which is did they say it was 20 episodes?
What, Batwoman?
No, Supergirl.
Oh, I don't know, maybe. Well, again, remember,
I don't recall it.
I don't know, it's mid-season, so I'm not sure.
Well, it's mid-season, but it starts filming
soon. I know they were saying
now,
but that's that and Supergirl and Legends
it'll have 20 episodes.
Very beginning October.
Yeah.
It'll have 20 episodes.
But yeah, I mean, Green Arrow's gone, Supergirl's going, we got a new Batwoman. So it's Barry Allen's the old grizzled veteran now.
I mean, you think about it, this is going to be year 4 for Black Lightning, right?
Or no, is it
Barry Allen, Sarah Lance, and then you got your older Black Lightning. I mean, those are all the people who've been there since the early days.
Oh yes, I mean, just show wise, Sarah's been there the longest.
Yeah.
But
back to this Dean Cain show.
Oh yes.
With my second favorite Lois Lane.
Yes, Terry Hatcher is very good Lois Lane.
I if it wasn't for just the time and my love for Erica Durance's Lois Lane in Smallville, Terry Hatcher would be the best Lois Lane.
And can I just say, yes, Terry Hatcher's Lois Lane. Can I say she is real and she is spectacular?
I think Phil told us who his favorite is.
It's a Seinfeld joke. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Dean and Terry are all good. But I brought up the John Cryer because I was going to segue. John Shea as Lex Luthor. I mean, very.
He does not get the credit he deserves. He's the first post-crisis Lex Luthor, the first person to play the character that we know from the comics that we haven't really seen anywhere else.
And it wasn't the same exact character from the comics, but it was very in the style of it because remember at this point in the comics, Lex was in a clone body pretending to be his own son, so he was kind of trying to be Mr. Nice Guy in public, and then he's strangling his trainers in the behind closed doors.
Yeah, he was the billionaire mogul that he had never been before.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And then if we look at all of our live action Lex Luthors, we've talked about this. Kevin Spacey's is like a version of that, but yet still kind of like the darker Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have Eisenberg where they tried to do this reinvention that was different.
We don't mention
And
it.
then you have Cryer, who is that Lex, but he plays Lex like the farthest into Lex's career that we've ever seen. You know, we've never got a Lex Luthor that's been battling Superman for years.
Yeah.
We always get it back here. And then, of course, Rosenbaum's Lex is kind of like the comics, but a little bit different in the sense of it's younger, but he like has that whole father relationship that they created. And then he's a genius, intelligent, but he's not solely the genius. Like, so
I don't know if it was just the armor scenes with Cryer, especially when he was like playing My Way over, you know, in the helmet and stuff. But I don't know, and I don't know if this is intentional. But Cryer just strikes me as like trying to like play Lex as like a very like evil Tony Stark, kind of sort of.
Yeah.
I could see it. I never,
you know, like I'm the
smart that way.
Armor. I'm the smartest guy in the room. You know,
right?
But I like.
He definitely. His version of Cryer was definitely a little more evil, and not only the smartest guy in the room, but he had a plan going into that room. You know what I mean? He had multiple plans. I mean, he was he manipulated and he waited for people to make the decisions he already predicted that they would make.
Oh yeah, turning the sun red.
Phil, I have a question for you. I thought of this today. If I remember, because I haven't watched Lois and Clark straight through in a while.
Me neither.
Is it in this? James, help me out here, because here's where my question's coming from. It's like the second or third episode he finds out he's an alien, or does he already know he's an alien? Because he has the spaceship on Lois and Clark, right? Or not?
Well, in this episode, the mother said, Ma pulls out the blanket. She's like, "This is the blanket we found you in." So it's like, did they tell him? Okay,
because here's my thought. This is my big question for Phil, and then we can kind of dissect it. In the comics at this time, when Lois and Clark, is that when he was wearing the glasses that had the Kryptonian like tech, where they were like the lenses were like created from Kryptonian technology? Because
I don't believe so.
Dean Cain as Clark always does the thing where he tips his glasses down for his heat vision or for his X-ray vision, which at first I just thought it was like an acting cue, just like the way McAvoy does this in the X-Men. So you're just doing something, we have a visual. But then I thought, well, if he's wearing glasses that are Kryptonian, like when they did the stories where supposedly they gave off low dose hypnosis, it would make sense that he has to pull the glasses down because his powers won't work with the glasses on.
Yes, no, I don't believe there was Kryptonian tech. This is 93. This is like right after he came back from the dead. This is the beginning of Mullet Superman.
I'm so glad they didn't do that on this show.
I mean, his hair is a little long in the back. Yeah, it's not like a mullet, but I just wonder
in this episode.
Yes,
it's like I said, in this one it is. But in the next
Dean
one,
Cain was a jock. Dean Cain was a jock before he went actor. So I mean,
that's
just like. It's just how he had his hair, right?
So. Yeah. I was gonna look up the episodes, but yeah, I can't remember if, like I said, it's been years since I watched the show.
So I think he knows he was an alien. I think he knows,
but he might not know it was Krypton.
That his parents found him. Yeah, his parents found him in a ship, but the thing was that the government agency confiscated that ship. So like when Jonathan went back to get it, it was gone.
Okay. I was trying to remember.
So he never had any information on like where he was from or who he was or what he was. But I think that they were honest with him about, how they found him and why they believe he has his abilities.
Yeah, because that kind of tracks with like the comment, like in Man of Steel, John Byrne set it up where like, yeah, they didn't know he was, they knew he landed in a spaceship, but they didn't know he was from Krypton until when he came back to the farm as an adult and like a Jor-El hologram popped out of the thing and basically like downloaded everything into his brain.
Yeah, he gets because he goes to that Bureau 39 warehouse in the show where he finds the different alien files and things like that they've collected, and he finds the ship. He finds the ship with the crest on it, and that's when he picks up the globe, their version of whatever Kryptonian artifact that has all the information and everything. And like I remember at one point it was Earth, and then one point it was Krypton, like it shifted or whatever. So like the globe was Krypton in his hand.
So yeah, what do you guys prefer? I mean, most stories he comes to Earth as a baby, but yeah, in that John Byrne Man of Steel, like it's basically an incubator, and he isn't technically born until he hits Earth's soil.
No.
I'm pretty sure in this he came as a baby.
I'll tell you why, Phil. Because if you look at it from the point of his parents, the idea of just having your child, and
they didn't know, they really wouldn't know him, yeah.
And like it hit me harder, like when Solomon was born in the hospital, and the night that he was born, like I was holding him on my chest, and we were actually watching Man of Steel.
Yes.
And I had it on my computer, and then like the next night, them putting him in the NICU, and I thought like, okay, the idea of just having your child in your hands and then risking, like if they stay with you, they're dead, but what if they go on their own, and having to let go of your child and watch your child, and like the emotions of actually all of that.
Oh, yeah.
That goes into it more so than the incubator matrix being sent off and then your child is actually born. Because I know they did it so that he was like depowered as a child and had to grow up and gain his powers.
Yeah.
Through.
And two, then he was technically an American citizen because he was born on U.S. soil. And like John Byrne was really playing up the, Krypton was a cold, sterile place and stuff. And
no, I'm fine with that. Like I like the idea that maybe Krypton had gotten to that point where it had become cold and sterile, and that's why they, in the movie Man of Steel, did the whole idea of like Cal being the first natural birth.
Mm-hmm.
The population control and the artificial everybody being born from what did they call it? Anyway, yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Sorry if I got us off track, but no, I was going to say I was talking about the great John Shea as a great Lex Luthor. I remembered his performance and like how great it is, but like some of it I didn't even remember from this episode. Like the
snake.
I was gonna say him sitting there on the floor playing with his snake. Basically, what staring down a snake.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the pilot so many times. I mean, it's pretty. There's a pretty cool scene where he stares down the snake, and then just a single tear runs down his face.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that just shows the level of intimidation that this Lex Luthor has.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they show him down the line in the season intimidating different people, and his testing Superman, and telling, basically trying to make it so that Superman is like, you can't save everybody, so just quit.
I mean, we get the great part in this episode of Lex liking everyone to look up at him, and then Clark flying in and saying to look up.
You just have to look up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They very much nailed it with Lex Luthor's ego. In this episode, especially this episode, out the gate, like you said, the tallest building in Metropolis. I like it that everyone has to look up to me. And then Superman's there just to knock him down a peg.
I love, there's so much I love about the show of just how they use like how the George Reeves shows did like the bounce and takeoff for the flying, how this uses the cape swoosh, over the camera sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and, they're just, and like I was saying, like earlier when he was using his X-ray vision, like this shot of actual Dean is like the glasses come down and you just hear the effect, and then like it does like a shot of whatever he's looking at. So, this series I think has the most underrated and underappreciated Lex. And James and I were discussing like how little Shea is actually in the series, but you forget he's only in season 1 and then makes an appearance in season 2, and that's it.
Yeah, true.
And what I really love about this series, it's a feel good series. Like if you want to watch something Superman and just feel good, and there's like no drama even in the drama, like this is just like that show to have that just gives you a smile, a warm feeling, and like a good time.
I think it's been a while since I've seen your basement, Tyler. I swear it looks like Saturday Night Live now. Like over on the left, you see all the Superman stuff, where they do the skits, and then over on the right, there's where the band performs twice a show.
Well, my friends are coming. My old bandmates are coming on Sunday down to jam, and so we're going to be here in the basement. So I've been kind of moving some things around to get ready for that.
Nice.
And then over here, I'm working on some just different recording stuff to help with our mobile recording setup that I developed. So next time I go visit James, we'll be able to record a little clearer than we did last time we were sitting in the same room.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get our Dean Cain picture so I can like flash it up on the screen.
Oh, I'll say I got it here on the wall. I got it on my phone.
Yeah, I have it on my phone. I was trying to email it to me, but it's not showing up on my email. Unless I'm just trying to send too big of a file or something.
It's like, this was Phil and I meeting Dean Cain. It was a great day. I'm just so bummed because I actually had plans this year to meet Tyler. He was going to be my third Superman in a row, and I had already bought the picture frame to hang up our picture where we meet Tyler next to my other meeting of superheroes, Supermen.
It'll happen.
Then the world changed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything's delayed. I mean, now Black Widow is going to be a year after it was supposed to come out.
I'm telling you right now, when it comes to Black Widow and Wonder Woman, I'm just done. Like I've lost all my hype for them. I've lost because it's just now become a game of we're going to change the date, and even that might not stick. So that's why I'm just like, I don't care anymore.
I think that's just all I just think that's because of the theaters and stuff. Because, I mean, I think if there's 2 movies the theaters wanted this year, it's Black Widow and Wonder Woman.
Those would be the movies like I've said all along. Like I told you in that rant. You need something that's going to drive people to the theater that they can all go see.
Yep.
Black Widow, the MCU, Wonder Woman, was a huge success. Both movies are something that I could take my entire family to see.
Exactly.
They're not family movies, but I could take my children to see Wonder Woman. I had planned on taking them to see Wonder Woman during the day.
Yeah.
Because it's always the best to take the kids during the day, just sometimes they're a bit more rowdy.
Oh, yeah.
But my daughter has begged me, Selah has begged me to go back to the movies if she wants to go. We had such a great time. One of the best memories I have from this year is when we went for my birthday and saw Sonic the Hedgehog as a family. Like, they had so much fun. And, Wonder Woman or Black Widow would be those type of movies to get everyone back in the theaters. And, at this point, those movies are also fueled by merch and promotional time and hype. Wonder Woman Walmart still has a huge Wonder Woman 1984 display.
Mm-hmm.
They've stopped all the Doritos promotions they had. I don't know if they ever put out the Dr. Pepper that they had before. But and then I saw the Black Widow toys at Target where they have Taskmaster's mask and they have their costumes and stuff. It's like that marketing engine is gone. It's kind of like how McDonald's at the same time, they couldn't stop their Happy Meal stuff. So they did their whole Happy Meals for Despicable Me, The Rise of Gru, which that'd be another movie to see if you can to put in theaters. Being animation, it might drive parents and families out to see something. But if they're not going to put anything worth people risking and going out and really desiring to see that everyone can be a part of, they're never going to recover.
Oh yeah, I just, and again, I don't know if all the theaters were even open. Yeah, it's just a weird time. It's like I've been telling Luca. I'm just like, I'm like, remember these times. I'm like, your kids, your grandkids are going to be asking you about, what was COVID like?
I was there, son.
Exactly. That's what
Speaking of Luca,
yeah.
Solomon told me that Luca is part of the YouTube channel that him and his cousins are creating.
Oh yeah,
called like Wild something they have going on, and it's gonna be part of his podcast. So Solomon has this whole thing cooked up for YouTube and podcasting with my nephews and Luca.
Oh, cool.
So I just thought you should know, being Luca's dad, that like there's something grand coming down the scale.
Yeah, we've been planning. I need to pull the trigger on a YouTube channel or something, because I know,
I thought about doing
my
that
daughter's been begging me to give her one.
Because I know, like, if I can set it up right, I mean, he's, he'll play like Roblox or something on there. Watch now, it'll be like, let's talk friends.
Yeah,
right.
You'll be like,
I told my daughter she can have a YouTube channel if it's all animation. She does really good at flip a clip and phone animation and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there we are.
Like,
there's
if you
there's our Dean Cain picture for those of you watching on the YouTube.
Look at those good-looking guys.
So yeah, if you do all animation and stuff, you can have a YouTube channel.
You'll just see Luca come walking to the house like, Dad, about to record my new podcast episode. Tyler's my special guest. Like, my favorite Joey and Chandler line. I won't say it on the podcast, so I don't want anyone to think, but I'll just text it to you because me and my buddy Devin use it often.
Oh my God! Here, Luca, 7 years old, already walking around going, "How you doing?"
I don't want my baby's first words to be "How you doing?"
All right. So yeah. What else? What else about this episode? Come on. What's?
Well, I mean, the first time we were talking about. I mean, we talked about Lex. I mean, we talked about Lois. Like Terry Hatcher. The first time we see Lois in this episode, she comes in. She's dressed up like a hobo.
She's in drag.
She's got a beard and a mustache on, and she's got a friggin' ace bandage wrapped around her, trying to hold her chest down, so she seems like a hobo guy in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And she cuts it off, and then next thing you see, she's all cleaned up, and they've got her article hanging all over the place, and they're celebrating like this massive, this huge thing that she revealed.
Well, my thing, like, I love that they make Lois an attractive, but they don't make her rely on her looks like the way they could, because we get a very, like, we have that scene of Lucy. It's like, I think Lucy's one and only in this series, if I remember right. We meet Lucy and she's talking to Lois about, how she dates and how she treats the men in her life. And, we see tough Lois, and then we see her crying watching like a romantic movie.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to see different sides of like her character, and that's great because I feel like we get to explore who Lois Lane is more through this series. And this show also marks first live action Cat Grant, a Cat Grant that's now unrecognizable if you were to say the character, because Jania totally forgot that was Cat when we were watching. I was like, oh, she kind of had a back, and then we have our other Jimmy Olsen.
I was going to say, Jimmy 1 or Jimmy 2? What do you guys like?
I like both of them, but I think Jimmy 2 has more of that Jimmy energy.
Yeah.
Justin Whalen has more of that Jimmy energy.
He has that big Jimmy energy. Okay.
Yeah. Jimmy 1 was a little older. Yeah, he didn't seem like the young guy around the newspaper, around the office.
I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but yeah, Jimmy 1 seems almost a little too manly for Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, he doesn't have the squeaky kind of like energy, like you said.
Well, I mean, one of the first set of interactions and everything after Cat Grant shows up, he's like, "Have you seen that garter belt?"
Yeah, exactly. You're like, "Whoa, Jim, calm down. Tone it down." We also have, this is the first time in Superman live action, excluding Superboy, both the parents are alive.
Yes.
So if you were watching the film, the film series has always had one parent, Jonathan, passing. The Kirk Allen had both of them. The George Reeves had both of them passed by the time he goes on. But now we have both parents alive with Superman. Like I said, not excluding Superboy.
Well, heck, wasn't it the Kirk Allen and George Reeves where it was like the first time he was raised by, I don't know, were they even the Kents or just raised by people? I know it was Sarah and Eben.
Yep, so they were the Kents because it was Sarah.
I don't know
if
they were Kents.
They were.
Were they Kents? Okay.
Yep.
Wasn't that the first time he was actually raised by them? Because before that, from the comic books, he was like found by them, but he was put in an orphanage.
And then he was put in an orphanage, and then they went back and got him, or something. It was really weird.
I think
the way
so.
It started. We that's something we got to do, James. We gotta.
But they were old, and they both died, and then he left Smallville and went to Metropolis.
Yeah. So we have both parents, which is awesome because I love his parents in this series. I love
his parents are great.
I love the conversation that he has about Metropolis. And his dad's like, "You want me to wire you some cash?" He's like, "No, Dad, I'll find." He's like, "I'll go ahead and wire the cash." And then his mom's talking to him about coming home for the home cooking. And, we have the empty nesters of the parents kind of trying to do stuff. But we have that really great relationship that he has. And when Clark's talking about the rhythm, the pacing of the city, when they're just standing outside looking at the sky, that's, I don't know, it's something that I like seeing explored. I like in the sense that Superman, though he's lost so much, he still has so much, He has both of his parents. I think that works differently compared to so many of the other characters that suffer in tragedy. And I think it helps that you don't have to have a tragic story to be the hero. To be a hero like this. He has his powers. Yeah. And he has a tragic background that he's connected to but not connected to. The way Supergirl's connected to it.
And speaking of the powers, I mean, I know he's an alien. I know the whole flying or defying gravity, but in that motel, we kind of saw what Dean Cain would look like as Spider-Man.
And that still holds up pretty well. Mm-hmm. So I like just he gets his apartment. Lois is, is that episode 2?
That's episode 2, yeah. Because I think,
I'd say, wait a minute. I need to go back and watch them. I was watching it in the background and I just let it go. And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, because I just watched the first one, and he didn't get the apartment yet, so. Or at least they didn't show it, yeah.
No, he's in this like a little studio apartment.
It's just one of those
tiny thing. It's like a one room, living room, bedroom, kitchen, and then he's got behind the door the bathroom, and that's all. It's
just one of those shows once I start, I can always turn it on, and once I start, I can just keep going. I don't have to stop.
Yeah. Well, the thing I like about Terry Hatcher's Lois, you get it in the pilot episode, but then you get it throughout the series, is she's Lois. She's powerful. She's independent. But she's not mean. She's not mean to anybody. She's not mean to Clark. I mean, like we've discussed in the past. Yeah. Margot in with Reeves, she's mean. She's just like standing up for just being who she is. She's mean, and she treats that Clark like he's invisible, and she's just, Terry Hatcher's not that way, her Lois is not that way. She stands up for herself. She stands up for other people. There are times when she puts herself forward. She does what she needs to do to get the story, but then she feels bad about it. She feels bad when she alienates people and stuff, or when she steps on people to get ahead.
She wants to be like the ruthless, but she can't.
Oh, yeah. All right, before we run out of time, all right, Perry White.
I like Lane Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love his Perry White. There are things I like. I don't like the Elvis stuff for his character.
Yeah,
it's so big that it's like it marks him, but that doesn't translate or go anywhere else in the rest of Superman lore.
I mean, I forget.
Besides that,
James, in this series, did they ever say did like Perry White like actually like interview Elvis or like
I don't remember.
I don't recall him saying that he ever interviewed Elvis. He always talks about going to see Elvis.
Yeah.
He's seen shows with Elvis. Like he's just a huge Elvis fan. I don't recall him ever saying they actually interviewed him or anything. But yeah, it's just I wonder if it was written into the show or if that's something that Lane Smith brought like kind of with him to add to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My favorite Perry.
Somebody he looked up to who was like larger than life. You know what I mean? Kind of like a comparable to like Superman being larger than life.
I just wonder if they did that too to make the character more relatable or more human. It's like, oh yeah, this is my favorite musical performer,
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with this one. He was my favorite Perry White. I mean, he really still is my favorite Perry White. There's not too many others that get a lot of screen time. I could do without the Elvis stuff,
or as much of it.
But I mean, it fits with his character too. You know, just the way that Lane Smith is kind of. I mean, anything you see him in, you know what I mean? It just kind of fits with him. I mean, son-in-law with Pauly Shore. I mean, you could see him worshiping Elvis over there with that character. Like,
I was like,
just kind of seems like.
I was like, what else have I seen him in? I'm like, Son-in-Law and Mighty Ducks.
Yeah. I don't. I just think it's that. I think it's that Southern drawl that he has. Just. Even as the judge in My Cousin Vinny, I think, you know what I mean? No, that's not. No, he's not the judge. He's a judge in something else. He's a judge in something else. I've seen him as a judge in something else.
Oh, we're gonna have to go
because it was months. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was Fred Gwynn.
Yeah. It was the dad from the Munsters.
Yeah,
it was in My Cousin Vinny.
But I mean, it is so much. Like you said, it's so.
But
there's so much to.
He's a good Perry White because he's a good Perry White because he's really good at like playing the editor, but then he's also really good at caring about the people who work for him.
That's what I like about. I feel like Perry White is so hard to get because you have to have this stern character. But yet compassionate for the people that work with him, and he's so overshadowed by J. Jonah Jameson. That it's very hard to.
That's just because he's loud as hell.
You know.
Yeah.
But my favorite Perry
just
White
because he's always being loud as hell.
Favorite Perry White from the old TV series or from the Chris Reeves films. Like he has the best line about the biggest interview since God spoke to Moses. Like, that is my favorite line that Perry White has.
What's he got into that, Cape Batteries?
He just seems like a person who's been doing this newspaper thing for so long that he doesn't know anything else in life.
Yeah, but I mean, it's different on like a weekly series, too. I mean, you kind of wanted, I guess, Perry to be a little gruff, but it's like you don't want the audience to hate this guy for,
Exactly. That's why, like, it's so funny to me, and I've said this so many times, that Superman stories you would think would be that would be on film, like in the movies, and Batman would be the weekly TV series with the detective angle. But yet it seems like Superman thrives so much more on television, and Batman thrives in the movie sector.
Well, Superman's got more of an ensemble cast with his stories. Books and movies and TV shows. He's got this ensemble cast that people he deals with. Whereas, I mean, Batman in a movie, you can focus on just Batman and the people who surround him, and it kind of stands alone. I think maybe that's why they work better in those mediums that they are.
And again, too, I mean, when's the last time you got an actual live-action Batman show? I mean, with literally Batman in it.
No, never. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's so
Not
funny.
since Adam West. Yeah.
60s.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do a Batman series, like a real Batman. Like, you know, I had to laugh that they're going to do this, you know, what do you call it? Gotham TV series.
Oh, yeah. Spinning out of the Pattinson one. Yeah.
And I'm like, it just
I mean,
cracks me up because that was what we were supposed to have before. But
yeah, I think most comics and things, I mean, they're designed to be long form storytelling. I don't think they need to be as long as your network television, your 20 plus episodes. But if you are anywhere between 13 and 16 episodes and you focus on the characters, the character development, and the story, as opposed to the filler and the dramatic irony, you probably get a lot more out of all of the characters. You probably get a lot more into the stories. It's really why like the streaming age now and stuff is really booming. Especially getting these characters over into these shows now for HBO Max and for Disney Plus and stuff like that. You're actually going to be able to do this long form storytelling where, instead of it being constricted to a 2 to 3 hour film or whatever, now you've got 6, 8, 12 hours to tell like a single story and flesh it out.
Definitely.
Or at least a single arc and flesh it out.
Yeah.
I mean, it is sad in a lot of ways,
Mm-hmm. All right, not the rush, but I'm going to wrap it up here soon. So, final thoughts on this? Well, I guess the pilot and if you want to throw in the series as a whole, but
I love the pilot. Like, it stands as its own. I said you can watch it as just a made for TV style movie, and it is great. I really highly think people should check it out. I mean, if you're a Superman fan.
If you're a Superman fan and you haven't seen this, I don't know what you're doing. But
it's like people who are Superman fans who never watched Smallville. And they're like, yeah, I just never watched it. What?
Right. Yeah, they nailed it, Superman, Clark, Lois, I mean, even Jimmy in this, I mean, he's not like your dweeby intern or nothing like that, but the way he looks up to Clark and the way he looks up to Lois, Perry, the Cat Grant they gave you in this, I mean, they really nailed the Daily Planet, Metropolis, how busy it is, how Clark feels in there, his parents in Smallville. I mean, they really nailed it for this pilot. And I mean, 2 pilots in a row for Superman, Lois and Clark, and then Smallville. I mean, 2 great pilots to start off these shows. Hopefully, Superman and Lois pilot is excellent, and it's going to pick up way in the future. Those are very early on. This is way in the future. We're getting this Superman who's been around the block. He's done all kinds of things. He's in his prime, and we'll see. Yeah, hopefully they nail this one too. At least the pilot coming out the gate. I hope for more.
Definitely. All right. I'm going to take us out of here. But, all right. So, everyone, send your thoughts on... You can still send your thoughts on Lois and Clark next week before the Bat's back with Batman 500. Come back for that. And then in 2 weeks, our next Superman episode will be Lilith picked Action Comics 484. For those of you who don't know, that's the Wedding of Earth 2 Superman. Which it's been reprinted all over the place. Most recent, I think it's the most recent one. It was in that big hardcover Action Comics 1000 special. Oh. It's in there, yeah. So you can find it. Go search for that. And like I said, send thoughts on that. Send thoughts on Clark and Lois, Batman 500. Email us capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And follow Legends of the Arrowverse, Facebook, Twitter, Follow all the Capes and Lunatic stuff. Link to the YouTube. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can see these handsome boys on the YouTube right now. See? And their new fancy haircuts. So links to all of that, all in one place. That's Linktree, L-I-N-K.
Do the bad juicy hair.
linktr.ee/capesandlunatic. And, of course, remember to support our sponsors, Tweaked Audio, Hunt a Killer, and Pod Life the Book, Volume 1. Go pick it up in digital and paperback because Volume 2 is in the works with Mr. Tyler Patrick.
Yes, I wrote it. It's going to be awesome. I had probably the most fun I had writing, and I knocked that sucker out quick.
Nice!
And I was like so happy. I was like, Jania, I wrote my part for the book. She's like, what? I'm like, yes. So
yes, go pick up Volume 1 before Volume 2 comes out. Get that on Amazon. And when you go on Amazon for that and more, use the link for Southgate Media Group right down there in the show notes. Because help us support this show, the Southgate Media Group Network, and that man who stares down snakes, Rob Master Doom Southgate.
Make it rain, so says Master Doom. Please kick me in the pants.
All right, boys, where can people find the Krypton Report?
On Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Just search for it at Krypton Report Pod.
Anything else you guys want to promote?
You can find James at James the Man on everything.
Put the respect on it, Mr. James Cole.
James Cole 3.
If
James
you're ever
Cole the 3rd.
I'm gonna say, if you're ever scared and terrified, and that comforting feeling that comes over you, that's just James saying hello. He's always there.
I'm surprised he got the COVID. I thought the COVID would have been scared of him.
It was. The COVID got James.
Yeah, Brian and Tyler said that me and The Rock got COVID, so it must be almost over.
That's right, people. Yeah, Mr. James Cole is going to be The Rock's stunt double in Black Adam. So, all right.
That would be a dream.
That's right. All right, everyone. Yes, come back next week will be Before the Bat, Batman 500, and then 2 weeks, Action Comics 484. Maybe sometime before the end of the year we can get not only these boys back, but the Australians in here too.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a podcast of dreams.
Get Connor on our podcast for the first time, and of course,
bring those crazy guys over here.
Every other show on this podcast, you hear Ray,
Tricky Dicky.
What the heck?
So yes, fly back on in. Remember, kids, that's not a bird or a plane.
It's just James.
I was going to say, that's Mr. James Cole.